Robert J. Conley here. So, Inc. magazine came out with it was the 11 life lessons of Jeff Bezos. I don't know. I always, just for those of you that don't know, one of the one of the techniques of all the internet stuff is come up with the 7 blah blahs or the 9 blah blahs or the whatever. Anyway, doesn't mean it's not good information. It's just one of those techniques that's supposed to grab your attention. So, within the context of Bezos's list, there's the wisdom of find the right opportunity. Okay. Yeah, you needed to read that to know that's the right opportunity. So I want to give you a couple tips, my dear intuitive friends, on what the right opportunity might look like for you. And I also want to urge you to be open to going guerrilla, guerrilla, G-U, I don't remember how to spell it, but it's not the G-O-R in the zoo kind of guerrilla. It's the over the fence, in the back door, use tactics that are somewhat unknown to identify opportunities for yourselves. And as intuitives, you have the ability to be creative and to be adventurous in pursuing the right opportunities. So I'm going to give you some general thoughts on what the right opportunity might look like. And if you recall, I break intuitives into two types: systems types, which is what Jung would have called the thinkers, and empathic types, which Jung called the feelers. So we've got thinker intuitives and feeler intuitives. And so thinker intuitives are, for the most part, systems oriented. And so you sit there and go, okay, well, great. Where's the opportunity for system? Well, so Bezos is a great example. Sears failed to adapt to the latest technology. Bezos saw an opportunity to bring modern systems to what was a 100-year-old mail order business, or invent a new one, literally opening Amazon a year after Sears shuttered their catalog business. And so Bezos is a great example of just designing a new system or taking an old system and updating it. So your opportunities lie in that regard. Now, what are you looking for? You're looking for places, as an example, that, let's say, have tons of data and they don't know what to do with it, or they might think they know what to do with it, but their strategy's not working. And so, as a systems intuitive, you have the capacity to observe and then turn around and create new systems, to create new methodologies. And what often happens, especially, so like Sears is a great example. Sears was absolutely overrun with people who could collect data all day long, could observe the action all day long. They didn't possess the intuition to turn that data into useful information. And so what you want to be doing is scanning for businesses that are, if you're looking for a job, look for businesses that still aspire to be productive and great, and yet are in this kind of situation where they're not moving ahead and they're not growing. And what every company that's not growing needs is new strategy. And so you potentially bring that to the table. Now, the other thing is to do what Bezos did and say, wow, that thing's not savable, but I can see where a new modern system can bring things to the front. And so, again, at the risk of being obvious, we have the highly observable ones, Uber and Lyft. All they did was bring modern technology. And I'm not, all they did, but what they did is they brought modern technology to an old business. And that's what's happening across the board. And what I want you to see, I want to urge you to see, is that those opportunities are all over the place. And so businesses that, so all those kinds of businesses, as soon as they get big enough, they start going public, and they appear that they're on the brink of being successful. Who knows if they're going to actually survive all the tumult of right now? But the bottom line is that they are examples of the kinds of things you should be looking for and can bring to the table. So the the thing about systems people is that you have the capacity to identify alternative ways of doing things, and you have the capacity to put these things in perspective of the overall operation, and ferret out what are optimal solutions, what are the pragmatic things to do to improve performance. So look for those kinds of opportunities, and they could be down the street from you. All right. So then for our empathic intuitives, what are you looking for? You're looking for systems that are in existence that need, for lack of a better way of putting it, people friendliness. So, engineers are really good at designing systems that engineers love. But what engineers need are empathic people who can then say, well, okay, great. I see that this is useful, but you're not where it needs to be for a broad spectrum of people to be able to use it. And so your capacity to make it things user friendly is what you bring to the table. And again, one of these things that never gets any publicity, but the amount of money, time, effort that went into developing the precursor to the Mac, which was invented by Xerox, and darn it, the name of it's escaping me right now. But at any rate, it never made it to the market. But one of the things that happened was that the engineers invented it, and then they started getting feedback of like, well, that's great, you guys love that thing, but the typical secretary, the typical middle management person is not going to be able to use that thing. And so then they started spending a lot of money with the empathic type intuitives who could help them start designing, what do we call it? Intuitive interfaces that just make sense. And so what empaths bring to the table is a capacity for tact, a capacity for harmony and authenticity in a system, so that it is productive for others to use on a larger scale. The other thing is just the capacity for having the marketing conversations that need to be had with potential customers, because marketing is the outreach and the story that a company tells of why their product will do justice. And that great marketing is a two-way conversation, and it's feedback. It's not just one organization putting out there why they're so great and why this is such a great thing. It's the result of human interaction and feedback that says, yes, this is a great solution for what we're looking for. All right. So intuitives, look for those opportunities. Pay attention to those granular things. Systems intuitives, pay attention to where there's activity, there's not peak performance, and you can start smelling that there's a need for a strategy, for exploring new alternatives, for putting existing things in perspective within an organization, and basically increasing the effectiveness of operations. And then for you empathic intuitives, look for those opportunities where there are systems in place, but where there's not necessarily morale, there's not necessarily sales. And it's not that it's your job to sell, but it's your job to market, to tell the stories effectively of why something is a great solution for someone else. And, I urge you to continually look for alternative inroads into companies that pique your interest. If you going through these online job portals is just such a low odds payoff game. But as intuitives, you have the ability to create your own paths and to make progress in that way. All right. That's what I've got for you today. As always, I hope it made sense and I hope it was helpful. Robert J. Conley, see you next time.